Chapter Kshetra. Let me frame. No,
I already did it, Jim.
Oh, great. You read my mind. So we have a new person tonight. So a little bit of context and review. So this is the chapter on the field and the knower of the field. And what it teaches us is the classic meditation subject-object discrimination, drishya viveka, the discrimination between the seer and the seen, the subject and the objects, the self and the not self. What is the kshetra, the field, the not self? All the objects in the phenomenal world. The body, the prana, the feelings, manas, the thoughts, buddhi, egoism, ahankara, even the darkness of ignorance, avidya, our vasana bandha. All of that is anatman, not self. Kshetra. What is kshetranya? Yourself. The knower of the field and all the fields. Now, one of the things we want to emphasize, which people can get confused about, and if we don't approach it this way, the scripture doesn't do much to free us. When the scriptures talk about Atman, the self, it means you. Who sees the phone?
I do.
That's yourself. You don't get another self. My problem is not that I need to find a self out there or up there or someplace. My problem is I do not know who and what I am because of avidya, because of ignorance, because of Maya, power of the infinite. What is the antidote for ignorance?
No.
Yes. So there's the classic story of the king who smokes a little bit too much, drinks a little bit too much wine, gets loaded and goes to bed. In the middle of the night, he's still loaded. He wakes up and his bedchamber is dark. So in his delusion, he starts yelling for the servants to come and bring brooms to sweep out the darkness. How successful is that going to be?
Not.
Why? Because sweeping is not opposed to darkness. Light a lamp. Where's the darkness go? Gone. So the scriptures say not by pilgrimages, not by mantras, not by yantras, not by fasting, not by bathing in sacred rivers, not by service. By none of these is ignorance removed because they're not opposed to ignorance. Let me see if I can give you an example. I'm thinking of an arithmetic problem. How many jumping jacks do you have to do in order to know the problem? How many times do you have to run around the block? How many sacred drawings do you need to do? Fang asked me what the problem was.
What was the problem?
6 plus 4 equals 10. So what was the antidote to the ignorance? Knowledge. How do we find knowledge? We investigate. This investigation, this inquiry is not about finding things in books. It has to do with a direct experience. Now, Vedanta, the study of the scriptures, is also termed what we call a Shabda Pramana. What's Shabda mean? Words. What's Pramana? An authority, or more importantly here, a means of knowledge. So how do we do kshetra, kshetranya, viveka, discrimination between the field and the knower of the field? Start very simply. When you use the pronoun I, you refer to yourself, not some self out there, not some super soul, not some Brahman up there in the sky. I am Atma Brahma. That's what the Upanishads thunder. So you look at the mug here. Can you all see the mug? Can people there in Zoom land see the mug? Yes. Are you a mug? No. You're the one looking at the mug. Subject, object discrimination. Can you see the phone? You are not the phone. You're the one who knows the phone. Subject, object discrimination. Now listen to the traffic outside. Are you the traffic noise? No. You are the knower of that. You can go through all the 5 senses. Now let's go to a more subtle realm, the realm of the body itself. When you were a child, you had a little body. And you went through adolescence and your body changed. Now you're an adult. The body has changed again. But have you not known the changes in the body? Anybody here been bothered by allergies this winter beside me? Ever been bothered by allergies? Do you not know when you're having a runny nose, itchy eyes? Take a deep breath. Feel the breath in the body. Do you not know the breath in the body? Scan the body with the attentive faculty. Do you have any aches and pains, any itches, any tensions? You know the sensations in the body. The same way you know a coffee cup or the telephone. You are not the body. You are the knower of the body. Neti, neti, not this, not this. Now, Fang and I have talked a lot about energy. She has this interest, wants to do energy healing, stuff like that. Many people think prana is where it's at. Spiritual power, prana Shakti. We all experience prana, whether we're studying this stuff or not. Do you ever exercise and all of a sudden you feel really vital and you've got a lot of energy? Other times you eat a heavy meal and you go, can't move, want to take a nap. Who's had that experience? What your experience is a change in your energy. That's simple. Now, the whole science of studying prana and pranayama. But I am not the energy. I am the knower of the energy. It changes. It has qualities and characteristics. You've been talking about, buzzings in part of your body and stuff like that. Do you not know the movement of these energies? I'm not saying the energies are bad. It's just not you. Anatma, not self. Now we go to the realm of manas, mind. This is where feelings and judgments happen. Sometimes I feel joy, sometimes sorrow, sometimes I feel anger, sometimes I feel boredom, sometimes I have enthusiasm, sometimes God only knows. We have a whole palette of feelings. But you are not your feelings. You are the knower of your feelings. Neti, not this. Now we're going to go one layer more subtle to the Vijnana Maya Kosha, the intellectual sheath. This is where thought happens, or buddhi. Do the problem 2 + 2 in your head. Visualize a strawberry. Remember what you had for lunch. That place is your intellect. Thoughts go by like your hand in front of your face. Or I like to compare it to the sound of traffic. I have virtuous thoughts, I have vicious thoughts. The mind is near, or it's very peaceful. But whatever the thoughts are, I am the knower of those thoughts, not this. Now, see if you can find the quiet space between your thoughts. And see if you can notice who or what knows the thoughts and the space between the thoughts. And it's tricky because it's like trying to see your eyes. It's like trying to taste your tongue. It is like trying to shine a flashlight, a torch on its own batteries. You never see yourself as an object. The mind is still for a moment. You have this radical reversal of your attentive faculty. See if you can get a sense of it. See, there's nothing there. Yet it's not void, shunya. It shines as being, prakasha, the light of pure awareness. Nirupaham, without form. Vibunaihi, beyond the mind and its movements. Nirmalam, without any dirt. Achalam, it never moves. Always there as the witness, Sakshi, of the phenomenon. Now that's where we left off last week. We begin to use some of these meditative verses. What we do with them. Your mind is very quiet, with the attention introverted. See whether or not these statements that Krishna has said about the knower of the field. By the way, he said, I am the knower of the field in all fields. So Krishna and your deepest self, they are the same thing. All right, what verse are we on? Does anybody remember?
We have to start with verse 18.
All right, will you help us out, Deepa?
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Can you guys hear her? Yes. Okay. Nice and loud.
Sorry, just a sec. I'm not able to present because I'm using a different laptop. So today will be just me talking.
All right.
Jyotishamapi tajyoti astamasa paramuchyate jnanam gyeyam jnanagamyam hridi sarvasya vishchitam. That Brahman, the light of all lights, is said to be beyond darkness. It is knowledge, the object of knowledge, seated in the hearts of all, to be reached by knowledge.
All right. So let's pull this apart. The first idea, repeat it, please.
That Brahman, the light of all lights.
Okay. So let's go again through what we call the Mahavakyas, the four great utterances, each one from one of the Vedas, each one's from one of the Upanishads and one of the four Vedas. First one, Prajnanam Brahma. Brahman, ultimate reality, the ground of being is consciousness. Chit, pure awareness. Where is it? How do we find it? I am Atma Brahma. This self is Brahman. So the Shishya comes to the Guru and the Guru says, I am Atma Brahma. And the Shishya says, oh, Guruji, you're Brahman, I'm a worm. Then the Guru says, Tat Tvam Asi. What does that mean? You are that. Oh, this is nonsense. I have a hard enough time balancing my checkbook. How can I be God? I'm not powerful. I'm not omnipotent. I'm not omniscient. Doesn't make sense. It's right there, though. It says Tattvamasi. So what does it mean? So what we have to use is what's called lakshana. Who can tell me what lakshana means? Is there a hint word?
Characteristics or habits?
Well, in Sanskrit, it means the implied or the inferred meaning, not the literalistic meaning. Pardon me?
Okay, I was saying okay.
So we take the literal meaning, it's very clear. Jim, I'm not God. I have to take the bus. So what does it mean? So what we need to do is look for the deeper implied meaning. So we're going to talk about microcosm and macrocosm. Microcosm meaning the individual. Macrocosm meaning the infinite. So you have a physical body. The stula sharira, the gross body. Gross here doesn't mean ew. Gross means the densest vibration. Other scriptures call it the annamaya kosha. What does annam mean? Cooked rice. It's the food tube. It consumes a mountain of food and produces a mountain of poop. What is it doing? It's munching its way to the grave. God has a physical body. It's not the four-armed Krishna. It's not Lord Shiva sitting in meditation. The physical body of God is the phenomenal universe, the Jagat. You know why we call it the Jagat? Because it goes Jagat, 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 Jagat. It's always moving and changing. Chugging right along. You have a subtle body, sukshma sharira, meaning it's your thoughts and feelings, memories and impressions, your interior world. God has a subtle body. We call it the total mind. All the thoughts and feelings that ever been thoughted and felted, the potentiality for any that could happen. Technical term is actually hiranya garbha, which means golden egg, literally. But it means the total mind. So any of you ever been to a psychic? Yes? When you go to a psychic, and they tune in. What are they tuning into? Oh, the Akashic record, Jim. Well, actually, they borrowed the word and mispronounced it. It's Akasha, means space or ether. It's where all that total mind stuff is. Where they're able to infer or read those chains of causation. That's all they're doing. Sukshma sharira, subtle body, microcosm, hiranyagarbha, total mind, macrocosm. You have a causal body, karana sharira. What is that? That's your vasanas. Is this a word that you're familiar with here?
Garn shade I am. Reason.
But vasana, is this a word you're familiar with? These are the impressions left in the unconscious as the result of previously performed egoistic actions. It's a subset of sanskaras. But it comprises my ignorance, but it's also the controlling factor in my life. Why is it when I wake up in the morning and I do what I do, why do I do what I do? So if you go sound asleep, your experiences when you wake up, oh, I must have slept soundly, I know nothing. Fang goes to sleep. She wakes up in the morning, I must have slept soundly, I can't remember a thing. But you don't wake up going to Fang's job. She doesn't wake up going to yours. Why? Because your vasanas are different. Your sanskaras, deep sanskaras are different. Is that making sense? Anybody have questions about the causal body? Macrocosmically, God has a causal body. What? We call Ishvara. Ishvara comes from the root ichati, to wish or to will or to intend. Called the controller. How do we usually translate Ishvara into English?
Lord.
The Lord. What's a Lord do? Orders everybody around. Rules. So the ruling power is the total vasana. All the impressions that were there that caused the Big Bang. It set the whole cosmos into motion. It's causing the star to supernova. It's causing flowers to bloom. The great cause of everything. The Ishvara, the Lord, the controller. Now, at the core of your being is witnessing consciousness. That is not the agent. It's not karta and bhokta, not the doer, the experiencer, the enjoyer. Ever the witness of all that. It's the witness of even the ego sense, ahankara. We call that chit. Space of consciousness that's you, Chidakasha, Atma, self. Now, the ground of being of the entire cosmos in which the Jagat Hiranyagarabha Ishvara appear, we call Brahman. That witnessing consciousness, that ground of being, they are the same thing. Now, this third Mahavakya is also called the Upadesha Mahavakya, the instructional great utterance. All our yoga is all packed into that. So then the yogi, she goes off to a solitary place, does her abhyasa, her practices, vairagya, detachment, bringing up the body, I am not the energy. I am not the feelings. I am not the thoughts. And in the white heat of the deepest meditation, a realization takes place. The technical term is pratyabhinyana, the aha, the recognition. Moment of realization is not aham mahatma, aham guruji. No. Aham brahmasmi. I am Brahman. I am that ground being, that witnessing consciousness, that light that illumines everything. Next idea, Deepa.
Is said to be beyond darkness.
Okay, so the darkness here means the darkness of tamas. Who can tell me what tamas is? Tamas is the gross mind state of pure ignorance, of inactivity. The power of tamas is what we call avarana shakti, veiling power. The quality of ignorance, of darkness, is I do not know. The self, this Brahman, is beyond darkness. I can prove it to you. Someone comes to me and they say, "Oh, Jim, I am in bondage and I want to be free." Oh, okay. So, do you know who you are? No, I do not know who I am. Are you in bondage? Yes. Are you miserable? Oh, you have no idea how my misery is. Okay. By the way, do you exist? What a stupid question. Of course I exist. And do you know you're miserable? Yeah, I know I'm miserable. Oh, and do you know you exist? Yes, I know I exist. So even in the deepest ignorance, the person thunders, I am. I shine as awareness. But in the mind, we have this phenomenon called adhyasa. Who can tell me what that means? Superimposition. I superimpose upon myself the qualities of non-self. So, Fang, your family's Chinese, right?
Mhm.
What part of China?
Beijing.
Okay. What if you discovered that they fooled you and you really can't be?
Mhm.
They lied. Would you grow a different nose or have 3 arms, or get an extra leg?
No, hopefully.
Hmm?
No, hopefully.
So you'd still be you. But your understanding of who you are would be very different.
Mhm.
So those of us with the Christian background, we have, or Jewish, we have the story of Moses. Moses is born an Israelite, but his mummy puts him in a basket and sends him down the Nile. Pharaoh's daughter finds the baby in the bulrushes, takes it home and raises him as a prince of Egypt. And later, as an adult, Moses finds out, no, I'm not an Egyptian. I'm an Israelite. So he didn't change ontologically, being. Still the same dude. But what changed was his understanding of who he was. So listen very carefully. We don't get a new self. It's not that there's a higher self that I need to talk to or communicate with, or I'm going to become that. No. The problem is deeply rooted avidya, ignorance, Maya. That the essence of it is this: I think I'm my body. There is no other bondage than the deeply rooted conviction that I think I'm my body. There is no other moksha, no other liberation than the deeply rooted conviction based in direct experience that I am Brahman. Guess what? Neither state affects yourself. The self is ever free. Now, how do you know you are you? Knowledge in the world takes place by what we call the triplicity, the triple factor. There's the knower, there's a means of knowledge, the knowing, object of knowledge, the known. I, Jim, through seeing, cognize coffee table, object of knowledge. I, through hearing, cognize the traffic. I, when I use the pronoun I, you refer to yourself, you. I, through manas, mind, no feelings and judgments. I, through buddhi, intellect, no thought. How do you know you are you? Do you see, hear, taste, touch, smell, emote, or think yourself? Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. Well, obviously he didn't meditate, because if he stopped thinking, see if he disappeared. When have you ever not been you? And how do you know that you are? I don't know, I just know it. Yeah. What's the means of knowledge? Is there an instrument, a sense organ? No. That's right. You are Swayambhu, self-evident. Swayam Jyoti, self-luminous. Meaning you know you are. What is that which is known? You will never see yourself as an object. Listen carefully. You're not going to have an experience in meditation. Oh, Jim, I saw the self. I've experienced the self. No. You're always experiencing yourself. What we do in meditation, because we're confused. is remove from our awareness all the stuff we superimpose on. I'm tall, I'm short, I'm female, I'm male, I'm old, I'm young. More subtle things. I'm successful, I'm not successful, I'm a good person, or I'm a worm. All of those are ideas about the body. The body plus ideas of my mind states. But how do you know you are you? That pure, essential experience is a constant. In fact, it's perfect. You are never born. You really never change. You never die.
But do we really never change?
Pardon me?
Do we really never change?
You look and find out. The body changes, the mind changes, the ideas change. You find out if the witness has ever changed. Maybe I'm blowing smoke.
The witnesses.
Hmm?
I mean, isn't that true of Brahma? Brahma's always changing too.
You have to
Isn't Brahma always changing?
is Brahman changing?
Always, no?
Is it?
Isn't that's the idea of him being the universe?
I think she's talking about Brahma, not Brahman.
There's a distinction here. So Brahman, neuter noun, is Satchidananda, that perfect, changeless reality. Brahma, masculine noun with an A ending. It's the same as Ishvara, the
Mhm.
creator God, part of the Trinity. Not the same.
Mhm.
The same. But no, look to the Upanishads, and you find anywhere in the Upanishads where it says Brahman, the ground of being, changes. Never changes.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding what you said earlier.
You have to speak a little louder.
Okay.
My ears all plugged up tonight. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what you said earlier about, the form of Brahma being the universe, which is always changing, always.
The external part.
I see
But
what you're saying.
just like as an individual, my body changes, the energy changes, my feelings change, my thoughts change. But does the witnessing consciousness ever change?
No.
So also, the phenomenal universe is always changing.
Mhm.
The total mind is always
Mhm.
changing.
Mhm.
The total vasana always changes. But the ground of being, Brahman, never changes. Well, that's what the scriptures say.
But is it the being that never changes or the witnessing that never changes?
You find out.
I'll tell you. I'll let you know.
Yes, yes. That's the whole point. We have what's called paroksha jnana, indirect knowledge,
Mhm.
which you get by reading the scripture, by listening to a teacher. And we may or may not understand it. They may not know what they're talking about. They might know what they're talking about. But all of these as yogis are hypotheses. What kind of work do you do?
Oh, I work in tech.
You work in tech. So, but you've done science at some point in your life in school and stuff?
Mhm. Yeah.
Taken a chemistry class or something like that?
Mhm.
So what do you do when you're a scientist? You experiment.
Mm.
You're given a hypothesis. Then what do? You prove or disprove it
Mhm.
in the laboratory. So for us yogis, the laboratory is in our own direct experience.
Mhm.
Now, these are the hypotheses. What does Shruti say? Shruti says, I am Atma Brahma. Brahma is a changeless, nitya, eternal reality. Tatvamasi, that's your essential nature. Now you prove or disprove it. Now we're back to our original meditation. Subject, object. Show me some part of you that changes. Tell me about it.
The part of me, the self, or
Does your self change? Describe the change in you.
I know the witnessing is permanent. The self always witnesses,
Yeah.
right? But
Let's not worry about Brahma then.
yeah,
That's because
it's just, yeah, I mean, I don't think the witnessing ever stops, right? Like that's always there.
is that a changeless reality?
Yeah, I think that construct always changes. But it's always there.
You
right?
think what changes?
The construct, that construct never changes. The knower, the knowing, and the known, right? Like
The known always changes.
the known always changes.
The
three of them
knower
existing.
never changes.
Yeah.
This is what the scriptures say. This is what the great saints and sages say. If you think about it deeply, you'll see the logic of it. Now, as you deeply meditate,
Mhm.
see if you can find an individual.
Yeah.
If you look inside, his great, that's Ramana Maharshi up there.
Mhm.
His great practice was simply koham, who am I? Investigate with a quiet, purified mind. Pure here doesn't mean good thoughts as opposed to bad thoughts. It means fewer or no thoughts.
Mhm.
See if you are not a changeless reality.
Mhm.
Any questions about this? Next idea. This is a deep
It is.
verse.
There's three phrases, Jim. They might go better together. Is it okay for me to read all three out?
Right.
It's the phrases go on to say, "It is knowledge, the object of knowledge, seated in the hearts of all, to be reached by knowledge."
Okay, so this is subtle. So we're going to look at it from one viewpoint. It is knowledge itself, meaning it is the knowing principle. The word we have in Sanskrit is chitta. Pure awareness, pure knowing. It is the object of knowledge here, meaning it is that which needs to be known. What is that? By which everything is known, without which nothing can be known, beyond which there is nothing to know, knowing which you've reached the end of all knowledge, Veda Anda. Now, there's a deeper interpretation of this verse. So we've talked about the self and the not self, the seer and the seen, the knower of the field and the field. There's a secret. We lied. There is no not self. What we're seeing as the not self is actually the self too. Let me see if I can demonstrate or illustrate this to you. Let's go back to our microcosm. Close your eyes for a moment and visualize a strawberry. nice and ripe, so you can, visualize its fragrance. How red is it? Now open your eyes. What did you make your strawberry out
Mind.
of?
Imagination. Mind.
And what's imagination and mind made out of?
Consciousness.
Did you change into a strawberry?
No.
Isn't that interesting? So we have one without a second. It is my own mind, consciousness, awareness that seemed to imagine this strawberry, but I didn't change into a strawberry. Now, let's add an additional element here called ignorance. So at night, I go to sleep. That's a kind of ignorance. Everything's folded up. Then my mind imagines the dream. Dream body, dream ego identified with that body. I peep out from that dream body at a world of name and form. Inside, I have thoughts and feelings. But every element in the dream is my mind appearing as all of that. If I dream I'm driving a car on a mountain, have I changed into a mountain? No. There's still the witness. Change less. And the objects of knowledge are not created, they are imagined. So yoga thunders, the material world isn't material at all. It's imagined. And just like you are never touched by the images in the dream or by your imaginations, none of this, even though it is consciousness appearing as name and form, the ground of being never really gets touched. Easiest way to, who's that over there in the chair? Is that Walt?
It's Trevor.
Trevor. Okay, I forget who's here, can't see. I'm gonna get it. Because if it drops and breaks, you'll never forgive yourself. If I drop it and break it, it's no big deal. So we have a classic Vedanta metaphor here. This is a crystal ball, spatika. This is stone. It's got some interesting properties. There's another stone here. This is my Tibetan prayer stone. This is non-luminous, has no reflecting capacity. It's inert. This is pretty cool. Can you see the images? Can you see an upside down Jim in the crystal ball?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is rock. This is quartz. It's not glass. So are there images in the quartz?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's cut it open and pull them out. Can we do that?
No.
This is a homogeneous mass of stone. Brahman, The Mandukya Upanishad calls it Vijnana Ganam, a homogeneous mass of consciousness. But like images in the spatika, in the crystal, they're seen. It's actually the stone itself appearing as the images, but the stone undergoes no change. None. So also, consciousness, Vijnana Ganam, homogeneous mass. We say Nirguna Brahman, Brahman without qualities. The names and forms appear in it. Saguna Brahman. So, one of the great utterances we have, Shankara uses it, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Brahman alone is real. Jagat, the phenomenal world, is Mithya, illusion. Wait a minute. Chandogya Upanishad says, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Sarvam Idam, all this, Kalu, verily, is Brahman. It's not only the knowledge itself, but it's the object of knowledge, meaning all this world of name and form is consciousness seeming to appear. Again, close your eyes for a moment. Let's go back to our strawberry. Now get rid of your strawberry. Visualize an elephant. Mine's a baby elephant playing in mud. Now let go of that image and imagine we're up in the Himalayas, in UP. Seeing these enormous, enormous mountains, 25,000, 30,000 feet high. Huge. Open your eyes. Did it take more of you to imagine a mountain as opposed to imagining a strawberry? Did you change into a strawberry? Oh, I've been on a diet. I can't turn into a mountain today. No. A mountain, an elephant, strawberry. Why? Because it is the nature of consciousness to see stuff. Early in my studies, I wondered, why do we call it Advaita? Advaita literally means not two. I said, you should call it Ekam Sat Vedanta. Makes more sense. One truth. Why do we call it Advaita? Because the fact of my direct experience is I'm seeing stuff. I'm cognizing stuff. But in fact, it looks like two, but it's not two. The subject, Nirguna Brahman, Brahman without qualities, the eternal subject, the witness. Saguna Brahman, the phenomenal world of name and form, constantly changing, but not really outside and not really material. So this is the deeper meaning. Not only is it knowledge, but it's also the object. Is that the end of the verse?
Yes, it is.
All right. This is very, very deep and profound Vedanta. Prove or disprove. Now, we have a condition called Tanu Manasa, which means the thinning of in meditation. As you thin out the thoughts and feelings, as we let go of our attachments, you will have the direct experience of the world itself starting to thin out. Why? Because the mind is the world and the world is the mind. They are not separate.
Is the mind the knowing in this case?
Say again.
Is the mind the knowing?
Here, what we mean by mind is all my imaginations, my opinions, my judgments. But also, again, this is not solipsism. You, the individual, are not dreaming all of us. It's Ishvara who's doing the dreaming. But yes, it's all mind. It's all Chaitanya. It's all Chitta. All right, it's time to quit. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Namaha. Hari Om. Om. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you,
Now,
Jim.
did you bring Fang from the city?